If you take a look around you, you realize that the kindest people tend to suffer the most. They tend to carry the heaviest of burdens. They act selflessly, right? They give out their time and energy just to make another person happy. And in fact, these are not people pleasers that I'm talking about. These people are truly, from the bottom of their heart, truly wants to make other people happy. But it seems almost as though that the only reward for these good people is death. And the reason why I say so is because in return for the good deeds that they have done, they are usually the ones and ending up being exploited, being taken advantage of. And it truly pains me to see how these people are the ones usually suffering. And it only makes sense that the only reward for them is death. And I'd like to say here that I'm not talking here whether good or bad is what is what, because good or bad depends on morality, and morality is, I feel, a weapon to use against one another. But truly, if you have ever met a kind soul, you would understand what I mean, because they seem almost as if they are angels of light, and they really try to help people from the bottom of their heart with no expectation of anything in return. And the reason why I say that the only reward for them is death is because in the world that we live in, where exploitation of human resources is the only way to keep our world running, which is capitalism, they are offering themselves to be exploited. And not only that, they offer themselves to be exploited again and again. Somehow these kind souls or good people, even though they have been taken advantage of, they have give their all and everything to others, they still tend to do it again. They still tend to smile, and somehow they're still very positive. I do not know how they do it, but if you truly meet one of these kind souls, you would understand what I'm talking about. And it really pains me that these are the people suffering the most in our society or world that we live in. And the reason why I say that the only reward for them is death, it really depends whether you, not say believe, but whether God actually exists or not. Because if God exists, at least we do know that there is a heaven and there's a hell. And in these good people, kind souls, would at least end up in heaven, and their deeds will be rewarded, right? And it would make sense because, at least in this cruel world that we lived in, they have completed the game of living in this world. They have learned to be selfless. They have learned to love others. They have learned to treat others as their own. And God probably thinks that, you know what, you have understood the game, and it's time for you to ascend to another level, right? And that makes sense. But if God doesn't exist, then that means that we are entering the nothingness. And if we enter the nothingness, then that's it. There's really nothing to it, right? You have been good your whole life, you've been trashed on your whole life, you've been exploited your whole life, all for nothing. And from the bottom of my heart, that's the only reason I truly believe and hope that God exists, is because I cannot accept that these people suffer for nothing. Like, these people are being exploited. They offer themselves to be exploited, all for nothing. You know, I get it in their head that they're trying to make other people happy, and that's reward on its own. But it can't be that the people who are good are being exploited over again for nothing. You know, in a sense, this hope that I have is probably what a lot of people without power or money, in a sense, feel as well. Because without power or money, you are living in poverty. These are the type of people that pin down morality and put morality on one another. So they hope that the elites, the people who cause them suffering, do suffer in hell upon death. Which is why they they have nothing in their power that they can do for themselves. They know that they cannot touch these elites, which is why they are hoping that a something or entity of a higher power take cares, rewards, or punishes people based on their deeds. You know, imagine a billionaire, right? Or the elites who have caused sufferings. They have polluted our world. They have exploited millions of people. They've enjoyed the materialistic things of this world, and there's nothing that a person in poverty can do about it other than pray and have hope that all these things would end and that a higher being would be able to essentially reward or punish based on the deeds of this world. And it's kind of cruel. It's kind of cruel that if God actually existed, he put us into this situation, because all we have now is hope and faith. And this faith, I will even consider it blind faith, because there's nothing supporting the existence of whether God does exist. And the saddest thing or the scariest thing is that if God doesn't exist, that means that the people who have enjoyed exploiting the millions of people doing evil things throughout their entire life gets away scot-free, because certainly they have all the power in the world to stop anything from harming them in this world. And if God doesn't exist, that means that there's nothing after death, and they have enjoyed everything that they have. Do you get what I mean? That's why I truly cannot accept that good people in this world suffer for nothing. And I think a lot of people feel this way as well. The people without power, the people without money. And I hate that I'm talking about how money equates to power, because that's literally how our world is being run. You're being stuck in this system that truly exploits one another. But another thing that gives me hope is that it seems that the elites are very scared of death. I think you've heard of all these secret rituals that they're doing, right? Trying to extend their mortal life, trying to escape death. When we all know that death is certain, right? The rituals that they do by drinking blood and all these rituals that they have done, right? It almost seems that they are going to an extreme because they know that there's something on the other hand. And it makes me wonder that it's probably because they know that they have met the devil before, which is why they know that at the end of this, God is on the other side. And that's the only thing that gives me hope as well. Like, it's not the only thing, but it gives me more hope. Like, there's something that they probably know of that we do not know. Like, they know that the devil exists. The devil was the one that gave them all these luxury materialistic things that they are owning. Which is why in my head, even though I'm not a very firm believer that God is good or all powerful, I mean both. But somehow when I see and know of all these rituals that the elites are doing just to prolong their life, right? it gives me kind of that sparkle of hope. It's kind of a weird way, because if you do believe and if you do know that the devil exists, you would definitely know that God exists by proxy as well. So yeah, that's just a thought that I have. It really doesn't make sense that good people really suffer for nothing. And sometimes I will really wonder to myself, like, all the evidence that we have, that we can see with our own eyes, touch, our own brain, that to, you know, process the information that we have processed that the God does not exist, but somehow we are supposed to put all our faith into God existing. And the faith that we have are fueled by the few things that I've just mentioned, right? Hopefully, good can be rewarded, evil can be punished. But it's all just blind faith, right? I think I'll stop here, because I think I'll be rambling on more. But yeah, thanks for listening, and see you guys in the next video.